Happy New Year, or happy whatever time of the year you're watching this video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey and I'm a graphic designer, and today we're going to talk about how you can become one too in 2022. So throughout this video, I'm going to be covering a variety of different topics. I'm going to link them all down below so you can go ahead and jump to the section that you want to listen to or get advice on. So feel free to browse those and jump to wherever you want to listen. If this is your first video with me, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing down below. Alright, so first up, I feel like I need to share a little bit about me and my experience with the graphic design industry. So like I said, I am a graphic designer. I am formally taught. I went to school for it. I earned a BFA in graphic design. It was a 4-year university, a 4-year program, and overall I really enjoyed it. Since then, I've held multiple different internships in in-house settings, at advertising agencies, or just working with people hands-on. And then I've also held full-on job positions at a creative studio and an in-house business as well. And then I also recently left my job in this past last year, so in June 2021, and I started doing brand design on my own, so having my own design business. I do graphic design, I do brand design, and I do social strategy. So I stay really busy with all those, and I've found having a background in design to be so helpful, and I just really love this career and I love helping people. So if you have any questions about my background more, I am always so happy to talk or chat about it. You can drop a comment down below or you can message me over on Instagram and we can definitely talk more. I should also share that I do have all kinds of videos that go in the realm of graphic design, brand design, just anything related to design, even my lifestyle as being a graphic designer. So if you're interested in any of those, feel free to browse around on my channel and take a look at the other videos and content I have. I have found that there's a lot of great advice out there from other YouTubers that I've learned from, or other people on Instagram, and it's just great to get other people's viewpoints when it comes to the graphic design industry, because it is something that is continuously changing and evolving, and I think the need is just growing and growing. So I'm super excited that you want to learn more about graphic design and that you're interested in it. So let's get into the actual topics. So I'm going to talk about the different avenues of graphic design. There are so many different realms you can take this. It really just begins with what you're interested in, what you really like to do, maybe what is best in the area that you live in, the need, and different areas like that. But there's so many different options. You can always do multiples of these, or you can pivot in different directions. And that's one thing I love about design, is that you're not doing the exact same thing day after day, but you can choose different pathways into other areas of design that will be completely different. So since I just explained that I'm a brand designer, I also wanted to just lead with that as an avenue you can go down. So brand design is an area that is really popular right now. Might be just the world I'm in, since I follow a lot of brand designers, talk to a lot of brand designers, but basically they are just individuals who are helping people really kickstart their business or rebrand themselves. It really is a great focus on people that want a personal business for themselves. A lot of influencers and people like that are starting to get into brand design and, well, starting to access it and hire people to do brand design. And then it can also just be for small businesses that want a emotional approach to their brand marks, their logo, their colors, their type choices. Everything is created into a cohesive look. It's completed in a style guide. It's given to the client or the consumer, and that is what everyone sees moving forward. It really does create a strong foundation for a business, and it's something I'm really passionate about, so I could go on and on and on about it. Next up, we have a web designer, which a lot of times if people are brand designers, they like to be web designers too, or maybe they'll just specialize in one of them. But web designer, of course, is using different website platforms to create a overall cohesive look that matches your branding, and also just an inviting, great space for people to use on their website. I do want to share with web design, it is helpful to have a background in HTML or CSS and JavaScript, but it's really not necessary. There's so many great hosting platforms, and that's also why people also specialize in development. So you can always hire developers to help out your projects. So if that's something that scares you about web design, don't have fear, because you can always outsource that or learn it as you go. Then we have UX design, which is just designing for websites again, but it's also a lot of focus on app design as well. And so it's your user's experience, and which is very similar to UI design. So UI design is your user interface, which focuses on different buttons and having that approach when you are using apps, website, and things like that. So UX and UI go really hand in hand. I would really recommend diving deeper into that topic. That's an area I haven't personally explored as much. So there are a lot of great articles out there and other YouTubers that do that completely. So I would recommend checking out one of them as well. Then we have marketing and advertising design. So this is something that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life focusing on. Basically what it is taking most of the time a brand that is already developed and creating specific campaigns around it. So it could be designing all kinds of different materials for their billboards, for magazine inserts. It could even go into social media and things like that. Wherever you want to take it, there's so many different marketing, advertising realms to go down with it, and having the background in design really helps and just really enters that door, because a lot of times those marketing positions want you to have the expertise of a designer to be able to use Adobe Suite and things like that. So that is definitely a high priority area to go down to in graphic design. Next, we have a more classic area for graphic design, which is publication design. So this could be designing for your magazines, for your newspapers, just any sort of publication in that type of realm. This area is of course not as popular since we are being more digital based moving forward and everything, but it's still needed. People still need printed out items. People still really like to hold books and to hold magazines and things like that. So it's still an opportunity to pursue if that is where your interests lie. Then we have motion graphic design, which is increasingly becoming popular as people really like different video components and things like that in all types of realm. And of course our attention spans are getting shorter, so motion graphics really help to grab the attention of someone. This could be really helpful if you're creating advertisements, because a lot of people like to introduce motion into that. It could be someone that works with different TV shows and things like that to also introduce motion that way. Or you could even work with YouTubers, because a lot of times YouTubers want to introduce custom motion graphics and things like that into their videos. So the last aspect I want to share for an avenue you can go down to with graphic design would be doing art and illustration design. And this is more specific if you want to be hired to draw like a children's book, if you want to draw certain illustration elements, things like that. That is much more of an artistic approach to graphic design, but it's definitely a needed field and definitely fits under the realm of graphic design. So those are the different avenues that I think of off the top of my head, but this area is continuing to grow with the need for so many different elements to be digital, and so many people just really respecting really aesthetically pleasing design and graphic design in general. This is just a field that continues to grow, so I expect in the coming years that there will be even more different avenues within graphic design. Next up, we have self-taught versus college. This is a really large debate, and I know it will reflect a lot in what the own individual talking went through, and so I'm going to share a little bit about my experience. I do recommend you listening to other people that have a different experience than me, because it may influence your decision as well, but this is just my one experience, so I'm going to share it. My background is, I mentioned I went to college for it. I went to a 4-year university, so I was really exposed to a lot of different elements when it came to design in general. It really helped to set a foundation for me. I spent a lot of time doing drawing classes, doing color theory classes, things like that, that didn't even get me into the programs of graphic design until I was already a year into my college curriculum. So I think I had a really great opportunity to learn the fundamentals that really reflect on my design decisions today. I do have a video that's all about design principles, which I would recommend watching, but design principles was just a huge area that we focused on in college and something that I learned to adapt, whether I was in a painting class, a just general 2D design class, 3D design class, drawing class, whatever it was. I really learned those design fundamentals and learned how to be critiqued and have feedback. So taking feedback is really important because you are designing for the consumer and audience most of the time, and you want to be able to think in the mind of them, as well as not everyone's going to like your same work because it is critical to the person. So that was an area that I feel like I just was exposed to and gained a lot from in college. I'll also say that going to college for it really helped me see all these different avenues that I just spoke about. So I was exposed to these different areas that I could go into. I had to try them all, had to be able to experience them. I had to collaborate with people when it came to design. So I was really exposed to that, which really helped me, I think, become a well-rounded designer. Within that, I did develop a portfolio. So I gained a lot of great work that I could showcase in there and work that I began to be proud of. And portfolios are a huge component in landing a job. So having a portfolio that was just naturally created through my design classes was really helpful for me in the long run when it came to looking for internships and job positions. And then I want to talk about the other side, being self-taught, because it is extremely common in graphic design, especially if you're going to go down the routes of like web design or brand design. That is an area that a lot of people are just using just different platforms to learn these skills. There's so many great platforms out there now. So obviously you can use like Skillshare. There's Lynda tutorials. There's so many tutorials on YouTube, like this one that I'm talking about things. But basically you can learn so much by just putting yourself out there. It does take some discipline to learn those different elements, to grow and get better. And like I was just saying with the portfolio, it just takes a little bit to build that up. But what I will say is then you can create custom projects for that realm that you really want to go down to in the future, and for projects that you're really proud of. So if you want to, maybe you want to do graphic design as a side hustle, or you already have a college degree and going for 4 years sounds like just a lot. I totally get it. Self-taught is something that I would totally explore. It just might take a little bit more self-discipline and a little bit time to learn, but people do it every day. Okay, so I will say it does depend what area that you want to go down and pursue. So like I said, becoming a brand designer, web designer, things where you are building a portfolio and gaining clients is a little bit easier to enter into with being self-taught. But if you want to go down the route of like working for an agency or a corporation, it may be a little bit more difficult. I've never had anyone actually ask for my diploma or for my grades or anything like that. So they just ask for my portfolio, which is great. But a lot of times they do want to see on your resume that you had gone to a 4-year university. So I would just recommend thinking about what area you want to do and considering that moving forward. I did touch on this a lot, but it needs its own section, is creating your portfolio, because it is a huge component in landing that job. Like I just stated, a lot of places don't even ask for your design degree or anything like that. They just want to see your portfolio. And so you want to make sure that it is really well done and it fits that area that you're applying to or that area that you want to focus on. So I recommend using a website when you create your portfolio. Back in the day, I think people would, print things out and send it that way. But of course, having it digital is so much easier. So I've just used websites like Wix, Squarespace, Showit, things like that has good hosting platform that you can easily upload your content. And all you have to do is send out the link and people can quickly access your work. When you're thinking of the projects you want to include, I would really recommend just including ones that you're proud of and ones that you want to do more work in the same realm. So don't include something that you're like, I don't like the style, the design of it, but I want to share it anyways. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Just share what you want to do moving forward, because that's what people think that you specialize in or want to do or like to do and things like that. If you don't have work that is paid, that is in the area you want to do, I would recommend just making up some of your own projects. Make up your whole consumers, your target audience, what the name is of the business, trying all those different areas. It's a really great exercise in general. But Basically, that helps to develop the look and style that you are proud of and that you want to do moving forward. Again, you do need to disclose that you weren't paid for this. If someone asks, of course, tell them that this was a project that you created and a make-believe client and things like that, which most of the time people aren't going to ask that or really look too into that. People just want to see what you can do. And if you can do something like that, that's great. And that's going to get you more work that people will begin paying you for. Throughout your portfolio, I would recommend sharing your process, what the goal of the project is. If anyone else collaborated with you on it, it's really important to give credentials where credentials are due. So if you had a copywriter work with you, an art director, a photographer, things like that, always include them, try to link to their portfolio. But basically showing your process and how you got somewhere is really great, especially when you're applying for those like agency jobs that want to see how your mind is thinking when you're creating. Lastly, I just want to share the different way that you could go about having a portfolio. You could use just different platforms. So Instagram has been huge for being helpful to show a glimpse into my portfolio for myself. That's a lot of way how I've gotten clients, so people see my work on there and then reach out, which has been great. You could also use sites like Behance, like Dribbble, Pinterest. Those areas are great ways to show your work that you can just send a link off to and then also get clients. So the last area is how to land a design job. Again, this is gonna really focus which area or avenue of design you wanna go down because they do change depending on that avenue. What I do recommend is looking for a mentor, and this could be done through a variety of different organizations. Some that I would recommend checking out are AdFed, AGIA, alumni networks, and just other local organizations. I actually got a mentor through an organization called Minneapolis Mad Women, which is here in the Twin Cities where I live, and it was just good opportunity for me to meet with someone that had a lot of back in the industry, and she gave me a lot of advice when it came to applying for jobs, how to negotiate, what I could ask for, where to look, and things like that. So I would really recommend trying to get a mentor, or you can even probably find one on Instagram or something like that. There's so many great creators on there and so many people that are willing to talk and discuss more. Then I would also say that you should market yourself. Marketing yourself through LinkedIn is great if you're looking for more of a formal job. If you want to do something where you're gaining more of your own clients, having those platforms of like Behance, Dribbble, Instagram, Pinterest are really great. And just putting yourself out there, applying for jobs, calling people, connecting with agencies, things like that really help you to land that first job that you want. I would also recommend joining Facebook groups. There's a group for about everything now, so you could find one that is related to UX design. You could find someone that is just a general design group, and then they'll often put jobs in there like web design, brand design projects, things like that, or just ways you can learn from other people. And so Facebook groups are really great. A lot of designers that are larger on Instagram will have their own Facebook group, so you could go ahead and find someone that you really like there and see if they have one that you could join in on. Lastly is just doing work for nonprofits and finding internships. Just any way you can get your foot in the door is really great. You should be getting paid for an internship, so I would definitely make sure you find one that's paid, but I have complete faith in you because there's a lot of great opportunities out there. Okay, and so that is everything. I really hope you like this video. Best of luck with becoming a graphic designer this year. I know you can do it. Again, feel free to reach out if you have any questions, comments over on Instagram or down below. And I am so happy you watched this video. Thanks for watching.